major admission that we just
it's
heard here,
it's a
people.
major
I
admission.
want you to know.
And for that, and I didn't work for him, he was an utter embarrassment, a failure, and a disgrace. And they're talking about sending Joe Bruno to jail for several years. They ought to be, the fact that Eliot Spitzer never spent a day in jail is disgraceful. The guy should not be talking about anybody's ethics, anybody's politics, anybody's anything. He ought to be quiet. Quiet. He ought to be quiet.
And you and Shelley Silver agree on that particular topic, by the way.
Look. Spitzer gave into a frustration, and he was wrong to give into that frustration.
Well,
but if you don't,
prostitution is not a frustration.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about. I'm putting that to the side.
Okay.
There's been no criminal prosecution of somebody who before or after him in many years. So put that to the side.
There hasn't been a lot of attorney generals that have prosecuted that
on the
were caught
Martin
doing
Act, there actually was somebody recently prosecuted on that.
No, that's not the
not the Martin Act. Sorry, the Mann Act. The Mann Act, not the Martin Act. That's a different thing altogether.
But your point, I think, when you say if you can point to something that he did criminally, you ought to take that to a district attorney. Until then, let's not engage in hyperbole.
Prostitution's illegal.
No. I said you were talking about his public duties. Put that to the side.
No. I didn't say his public duties were illegal.
Oh, what were you saying? You said he should. You said he should serve time in jail. What
for prostitution? There would be no prostitution.
Almost no one serves time in jail for prostitution.
Yes.
And almost no one serves time in jail for for what they're talking about sending Senator Bruno to time for.
Okay, wait a minute. Well, let's not conflate these two issues.
Well, they're unfortunately inextricably linked.
But hold on. Do you want to defend Eliot Spitzer?
Yes, because what I want to look.
It's not your turn, Dave.
What the Republicans hated most about Eliot Spitzer was not the prostitution. It was his attempt to get campaign finance reform. They feel that is their only ability to compensate for the demographic thrust away from registration and the groups that support them. So they dug in on that. He gave in to frustration by being angry and scolding, and shame on him for that. But history is going to look more kindly on his critique of what was going on in Albany. History is going to look kindly on his proposal for SUNY. Shake your head all you want. Shake your head all you want, but the polling data is starting to show that. Now, I'm not excusing him.
Of what? Here, and I'm going to tell you, I'm not about campaign finance reform. What I don't like the fact was that he structurally helped to break the state financially. Structurally helped to break the state financially. Absolutely. He undid laws that kept sexual predators in jail. He basically gave in to the legislature and created this basically cataclysmic sort of situation that we have today. He is responsible for that. Eliot Spitzer alone is responsible.
No, and the legislature helped him along.
No,
but hold on.
David, George Marlin makes the same argument about your governor's third term.
Okay.
Stop.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you not think... Go ahead, Dave.
What is wrong about what I said? He gave in on a budget when he had no reason to get it. He had a mandate. Guy was elected with a mandate. He gave it in a budget that basically crushed future year spending when there was no reason to.
I don't think that's what the first year budget was.
Let me just ask this question before we depart this topic, because I'm worried that actually we could really devolve into like fisticuffs over this table.
No.
It worries me. Verbal fisticuffs. Which were already there. Okay. Do you think that Eliot Spitzer conflated policy and politics too much? Because what was really angered, I think, the Senate, not just the campaign finance, but part and parcel of that was also the fact that he actively tried to help kill Joe Bruno, tried to help the Democrats flip the Senate.
Why is it? Look, when you are the leader of a party, when you are the leader of a party, whether right or wrong, you have a right to do that. But, did George Bush, do people say George Bush tried to kill Tom Daschle?
But he never stopped, Bruce. He never stopped. In other words, when it was time for governing, he was picking people out of the legislature and creating special elections. Mike Balboni flipping that seat to Craig Johnson.
Mike Balboni sought out the administration, not the reverse.
And I don't fault. And by the way, I don't fault Eliot Spitzer for that.
You don't?
Not at all. I mean, that's part and parcel of of the tough game that politics is. But again, what I fault him for is his failure to govern. I mean, not on, again, my orientation is less Democrat, Republican, and more executive, legislative, and at a time when a person was given a unique mandate to essentially sort of do the things the Nixon goes to China kind of stuff, and he failed at it. And he failed at it because of his own personal issues.
He failed.
And that resulted in
he failed
very much where we are today.
Of the inner demons that led him to
that
immoral act. Wait, he had not failed governmentally at that point. In fact, I'll tell you a story. And Steve Greenberg called me the morning of when the news broke, and he said, "You're not going to like the polling data." I said, "Oh, we're down again?" He said, "No, your polls are rebounding, particularly upstate." There was an upswing in the program that Spitzer was putting forward at that time. The polls were starting to react to it. Unfortunately, the personal foibles crushed him.
You're talking about right after the 48th?
No, yes, shortly after, yes.
Right.
I mean, when you say he failed, he was able to lead. He was able to lead a special election victory in a seat that had not been won before. Upstate was responding to his economic development message.
What the one where he screwed up the entire Empire State Development had 3 chairmen.
It took him a year and changed. I mean, it took him a good year to settle in.
With all due respect to good people like you and a lot of other people who I like and respect who worked in his administration, he did no justice by you or many of the other people who worked there.
That way, you're going to have to last word it because we're going to run out of time. Do you want to leave it there?
I have tremendous respect, seriously, for Bruce and for a lot of his colleagues who work for Governor Spitzer. But I truly do blame a lot of where we are at today at the doorstep of Eliot Spitzer, from everything from the fiscal morass to the attitude to the...
David Patterson.
Well, boy, oh boy, an awful lot.
It is a lot.
You are absolving the Republican Senate and what went on in Joe Bruno for an awful lot of that. I think there's so much blame to go around. Everyone should do mea culpas. To put it all on him is I think, unfair to him. But having said that, he bears an awful lot of the blame for the lost hope. But I think that history is going to be a lot kinder than your first cut today. But,
well, we're going to have to leave it there. So I really appreciate it. Bruce Story and Dave Catalfamo, thanks very much. I'm sure we'll pick it up again.